Okay, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Online in association Round for Round Boxing. New boxing game coming out. PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. Check us out. www.roundforroundboxing.com. Right. Food. Let's get into it. Going to be doing a talk on the special one, Kell Brook. Now, I can't say I've been the greatest fan of Kell Brook, but I was one of these guys that wanted to see him prove me wrong about my thoughts about him. I felt he was one of these guys that was good, but not as good as everyone's advertising him out to be. I always said that when I saw Kell Brook, he was a talented fighter, but he had next to no inside game. But I thought he was certainly, aside from my thoughts, I still thought he was on the way to a form of stardom with his boxing career. I really did, despite my reservations about how good he actually was when he got there. So I want to have a look. I'm going to go have a look back. If you look at the picture on the of this video, on the actual picture itself, it's got a picture of Kell Brook celebrating winning the IBF title against Sean Porter. Now, his career, I have to say, Kell Brook, up to that point, he was on a very, very, very slow burner. Lots of fights where, he was, let's see here, remind me, before he fought the Michael Jennings back in, he fought, like, building up towards that fight, the Michael Jennings fight. Luis Zara, where he went out to America and thought that was good. But I thought he was chipping too many punches there. The Matthew Hatton fight, War of the Roses. Carson Jones, the first fight. Well, I actually picked Carson Jones, actually beat Kell Brook because I thought Carson Jones' inside game was far better. And he narrowly escaped getting knocked out by Carson Jones. The likes of Salvidia. Then he fought Carson Jones again in another not very impressive fight. Sinchenko, beautiful right hand to knock Sinchenko out. I remember that. Robles. Then we got finally got the Sean Porter fight. In a fight that, again, I have to say, I didn't give it Sean Porter. I thought Sean Porter, he did a lot of holding that fight. I thought Sean Porter actually outworked Brook that fight. But they gave it to Brook. And I was happy, delighted that he became IBF champion for right now. IBF champion, let's see where he moves from here. So the first defense is mandatory against Yo-Yo Dan. Then the second defense is against Frankie Gavin. Now, bear in mind, Yo-Yo Dan was 34 fights and 2 defeats. And Frankie Gavin, I believe, was unbeaten at the time, former Olympian. Then he fought Kevin Bizier, who's 25 and 2. And then from welterweight, so it's 3 defenses of the world welterweight title. So, 3 defenses. Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin, and Bizier. 25 and 2. During that time, we heard about rumors of him fighting Vargas, who's going to fight, Jesse Vargas. There's talks about him possibly fighting Thurman, him fighting Pacquiao, him fighting Khan. All the big names in the welterweight division, his name was being attached to. There was even some strange rumor that he was going to fight Liam Smith. There was Chris Eubank was on the horizon. He had plenty to say about Kell Brook. But then we had the GRENADA Golovkin fight. So he jumped from being an unbeaten welterweight with the world at his feet. He moves from that to fighting 35-0 GRENADA Golovkin. The IBF, the IBO, the WBC middleweight champion of the world. So on the January, the 26th of March, he had the Bizier fight. That's March. So in September the 10th, he's fighting Golovkin at middleweight. To fill in for Chris Eubank, Senior and Junior not taking the fight against Golovkin. That's what he's promoted. And Brook. That's what they did. They took that fight. And their people, yeah, it's a 50-50 fight. Brook's a good welterweight, but he can move up to middle. Did you hear the rubbish people were talking? He had no time to set himself at light middleweight and see what he was about. He didn't dip his toes. He jumped straight in at middleweight against Golovkin, a powerful puncher. Daring to be great. Well, that's where one of the eye sockets went. Yeah. All those fans that were saying about him daring to be great. His promoter talking about him being daring to be great. He almost lost his eyesight. Fans don't remember that. Fans don't even think about that. That fight right there ruined Kell Brook. Don't care what anyone tells me. That fight ruined Brook. He got the spirit beaten out of him. Just think this for 1 second. This is the guy that you were guiding. You were guiding to be world champion. So you make him world champion, Babby. You make Babby world champion. And he's one of the fighters that you care for. You care for. And you chuck him against Kell Brook. Against Golovkin. Now, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I've heard different stories. I heard we know that Brook got stabbed in his leg. And there are all sorts of different stories as to why he got stabbed in his leg. From the stories I've heard, I'm not interested. But the bottom line is this. The only possible reason that I could think, in my mind, you would move up 2 weight divisions to fight Golovkin was for money. That's it. And you were short of a bubble too. I mean, this is a guy that was fighting in Sheffield Arena, right? And he was the next in line. After like Prince Naseem Hamed and Johnny Nelson and Ryan Rhodes, he was the next in line. He was the next king of Sheffield. So Sheffield loved Kell Brook. And he could have continued packing out arenas. Golovkin wasn't a mandatory. But they needed to fill the fight. So you're telling me that Kell Brook was the only guy that would have fought Golovkin. There was no other middleweights in your stable that would have fought Golovkin. Why Kell Brook? Why Kell Brook? I don't know. I don't know why that was. But so it happened. Kell Brook stepped up and give him credit for it. And he got basically the crap beaten out of him. He did. He broke his spirit. And his trainer had, from what I remember, he had a towel walking in the ring with Brook. That's how much confidence they had. But I'll give him credit for this. Brook was the guy that gave Canelo the confidence to beat Golovkin and how to beat him. And I said how, and I broke down how to beat Golovkin. You've got to move, give him angles. Don't stand in one space with Golovkin. Land your shots and get out of there. You only hit Golovkin with a shot, he goes back, and as he goes back, then he comes forward and lands shots. You got to ping him with shots and be away. Do you know what I mean? Don't allow Golovkin to reset. That's where he is. Golovkin's very powerful on the front foot, not so effective off the back foot. You've got to back Golovkin up. You've got to be on his chest, and you've got to push him back. Don't allow him to get leverage and power in his shots. And, you know, Brook used the speed from being a welterweight moving up, and he did what he did. You know, he tried to give a good account of himself. Obviously, he wasn't good enough on the night, not strong enough, and met his demise and an eye socket and almost blinded. So, from that fight, That fight was, let's go back and box rec this now. So that fight was on, I believe, the 9th or the 10th of September. It was on 10th of September, okay? So, September, October, November, December. All right, hold on. So, from the 10th, from September, the next fight Brook has is in May 27th against Errol Spence. So from September to May, he's got to pull his body back down from 160 pounds down to 147 to fight Errol Spence for a mandatory. So he fights Errol Spence, and Errol Spence continues to beat the spirit out of Brook in a valid, and Brook puts up a good display until Errol Spence starts chopping the body, and eventually breaks through, drops Brook, and the fight is stopped. Brook blinking, and people are saying that Brook quit in the fight. Mr. Eubank Jr. having plenty to say about that. Both eye sockets gone. Then Brook is back again. That fight, he fought in May. He's back in March of 2018 against some guy for the vacant WBC light middleweight title. Right? I don't know who he was planning to fight at light middleweight. The guy I thought he should have fought was Gerald Hurd. I thought he should have, when Gerald Hurd was first champion, I thought there'd been a brilliant fight for Brook right then, because Gerald Hurd has just become champion. I think that would have been a great chance for him to vacate the welterweight title and move up to light middleweight and try and challenge for that belt and avoid the Spence fight. And then he fights Michael Zerafa, unanimous point decision. Now, in that fight right there, the 8th of December 2018 was the last time Kell Brook was seen in a boxing ring. At that point, we thought that we might see Brook v. Khan. We all know Khan went off to America to get beaten by Crawford, and now be a fight an MMA guy. Brook, there are rumors about him talking about retirement or retiring. Now, for me, Brook should never have fought Golovkin, first and foremost. But if it was a debt situation and he had people to pay off money to, then the man's got to do what a man's got to do. If it wasn't that, and it wasn't a debt management situation, then you should never fight in the Golovkin fight anyway, no way, shape, or form. The fact that Brook was saying himself, from what the stories were coming out, Brook didn't want to move down to back to welterweight. He wanted to stay at light middleweight, but he was forced to come back down to welterweight to fight. So, to me, he was being told to come back and fight at welterweight when he said, I don't want to fight at welterweight anymore. So, again, who is advising Kell Brook to do these things to his body? First. Second thing, the rumors of Kell Brook retiring or wanting to retire. There is no smoke without fire. I would not be surprised if Brook was having a conversation with somebody and he was considering retirement or pondering retirement out of frustration and not getting the fights. And then out of that, somebody may have slipped it out to the media and said Brook's considering retirement. The Khan fight's fallen through. He's not talking about Crawford. No, sir. The Rafa fight, for me, was very concerning. He was getting caught with right hands he would never got caught with in his career before, which leads me to believe that his right eye is not properly healed. And I would even go as far as to say is, can he see up that right eye as well as everyone's suggesting he can? I don't know. So questions here. Is John Fuchs the man to lead Brook forward? He is a young trainer who learned a lot off. A young trainer who's learned off who as a trainer. John Fuchs is a good trainer, man. He's a good trainer. He knows his boxing. If you go on BWTN Sports, I've got an interview with John Fuchs, and he got a lot of American influence to his style. He's a good trainer, John Fuchs. Good trainer. Communicates well with his fighters. I like John Fuchs. Got a good reputation in Sheffield. So yeah, why not? Why doesn't Brook want Thurman Manny winner? Why doesn't he? Well, it might be the same reason why he was fighting a welterweight and not a light middleweight. It might be the same reason why he's fighting Golovkin at middleweight rather than fighting at welterweight. Might be the same reason why Andy Ruiz is now unified heavyweight champion of the world. Might be the same reason now why Ted Cheeseman is now beaten. Is now the same reason probably why the Newcastle GGG Lewis Rickson got beat. Might be the same reason why Amir Khan got knocked out. Might be the same reason why Anthony Fowler got beat. They all bleed back to one place. Dave Caldwell should have got the Brook job. No, Dave Caldwell was training Brook before. Dave Caldwell had Brook before, and Brook left Dave Caldwell. Why should he have the Brook? What has Dave Caldwell did? What has he done? Why should he have the job? Well, why should he have the job? Why should he have the job? This is the Dave Caldwell that was training David Price, right? And I told you what was going to happen there. What? I'm not even going to have this conversation. Oh, Lord. I'm not knocking Dave Caldwell, but Brook's been there. Why would he go with Dave Caldwell? Brook with Brook. Oh, how would he win a different fight? Booth can only train one style. Have you seen Booth train any other style than the style he's training? And if you get worked out with that style, there's nowhere else for you to go. Dave Caldwell as well in that Sky. Is that the reason why you train for a trainer? I thought you train for trainers to actually improve and be a better fighter. You know, Al Heyman has ITV 4, and Bob Arum has Top Rank. There's Frank Warren around as well. There are other options. So I wouldn't go over a trainer just because he can get you on TV. I'd go over a trainer because he can make me a better fighter, not because he can get me on TV. Some of you people have some strange ways of thinking, and I'm so. First of all, I'm so glad I'm not a fighter, and B, I'm so glad that I'm not a fighter. Listen to some of the stuff you guys come out with, because you'd have got me killed. I'm telling you. Who do you think Brook should have moved to the States? No. I think that Brook should have been better managed. That's what I think. Frank Warren said something about Kell Brook a long time ago when he was managing him. He said something about Brook, and he said something about his character, about his mental state. He said he was either mentally weak, or he wasn't up for it, or he wasn't a trier. Something he said about him. Caldwell, Booth both have more experience than Fuchs, and Eddie likes to have a certain circle around him. Oh dear. Does Eddie know anything about boxing? Does Eddie Hearn know anything about boxing? Does he actually know anything about boxing? He's a promoter. He knows how to promote. He doesn't have a clue about boxing. Absolutely doesn't have a clue. I mean, I don't know, like, what some of you guys see the fascination with this guy for. I don't know what it is. He had one job to ensure that Joshua became undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Failed miserably. Took him to America. And most of the world are laughing at him now. Look at the last year of Matchroom and the amount of fighters they've lost. They've got knocked out and got beaten. How many fighters have been beaten in the last year? Matchroom fighters have been knocked out or brutally knocked out or beaten. The whole list of them. And then look at the names who've been training those fighters. When will you people learn? Is that Eddie's fault, though? Maybe AJ Wilder and Purse demands calls fights not to happen. No, yes, it is his fault. Him, you're boxing, but you are harsh on Eddie. Am I harsh? Or the fact that his father basically said, not until 2021. And they basically turned around and said, his father said, it isn't about the boxing fans. It's about what makes boxing sense, business sense. So it's screw you to the fans. They're accountants. Understand the mind of an accountant. What makes money? Not what's good for boxing fans. What makes money? There's a big difference. Right? So yeah, I do blame them. I do squarely blame them. Squarely blame them. I'm not harsh. It is what it is. I don't do the BS. You see, because there's so much BS around, and because there's so much media, the media they've got around them is controlled, right? I don't fall for the BS. So don't come in here and regurgitate that sky rubbish to me, because I'm not interested in it. More blame should be blamed at Team AJ's door? Not really. Not really. Remember, if this is the same, if it is the case that AJ was knocked out in sparring and he was forced to fight Ruiz, I would believe it. Because remember when Kell Brook turned and said he didn't want to fight a welterweight no more, and he was at light middle, and he was forced to come back down and fight a welterweight? Who made that call? Who made that call? Who made that call? Who made the call for Brook to make such a dangerous fight to move up from welterweight up to middleweight to fight Golovkin? Who made that call? Who made that call? A lot of BS. A lot of BS. Who could maneuver who into what position and who could do what to slap who's back? Not Eddie's fault. Brook was weak and then he moved. Oh, no. Anyway, so back to my conversation I'm saying here. In terms of Kell Brook, as a star of boxing, or a future star of boxing, his run at IBF champion was cut short. And retirement, if I were him, personally, unless he's desperate for money, he's going to get badly beaten up. He can't see the right hand. As far as I'm concerned, if you can't see the right hand coming from someone like Michael Zarafa, if you can't see the right hands coming from him and you're getting hit with them right hands, then you're going to get absolutely iced by Crawford. You're going to get absolutely iced by Crawford. Absolutely. And they'll say he's daring to be great. And Kell's got a 50% chance. And he's good against southpaws. And he's got big punching power. And, he's big at the weight. And Brook is, he's an experienced fighter and all this rubbish. And he's got a better chin than Khan. He's physically stronger than Khan. He's a natural welterweight. He'll be bigger than Crawford on the night. He's experienced. He's been in there with Sean Porter. These are reasons why Kell Brook stands a very good chance of fighting Crawford and beating Crawford. That's what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to hear. And that's what most of you in this room that watch these shows that I do dislike. I don't know why you watch my show. I really don't know why you tune in. And I ask you the question, those people that sit behind your keyboards or on your tablets, on your mobiles, why do you tune in to listen to me? I got no idea why you tune in. I'm not talking about those people that are loyal, that listen, that support, that send their DMs in, that send their feedback in, are very positive. I'm not talking about them. I'm not even talking about those people that may argue with opinions in terms of, hey, I think this guy could win this fight, or not like that. I'm talking about the people that actually sit down and listen to the dribble, that these promoters talk. Promoters are got one job and one job only, to promote their fighter, to make you get off your seat and pay for a fight, whether you go to the arena or you tune in and watch it on Sky for the pay-per-view, or you pay for your Sky subscription every year. That is the job of a promoter. The job of a promoter is to make shit look like gold. A promoter doesn't have to tell you any truth. The only truth the promoter tells you is his own truth. Right? That's what it is. That's what any promoter's job to do. It's to promote. It's to highlight. It's to make look good, look great. That's what a promoter's role is to do. So people that sit here and want to come to me and tell me rubbish about what a promoter said, if you haven't got the sense now to understand that a promoter's job is just to make a fighter look better than he actually is, to sell fights. If you don't understand that by now, then, I mean, you know, I don't get it. I don't understand. Do you think Edgy sold us a dream, or AJ, do you think it was just an unfortunate night? Let me ask you this question, Ruben. How many years have you been on this channel? How many years have you watched the things I've said about AJ and broken down his skill set? It wasn't unfortunate. Just wasn't good enough. He technically wasn't good enough. And Vladimir Klitschko had done what Vladimir Klitschko normally does and not listened to Vitaly Klitschko, he would have knocked AJ out, and we'll be talking about AJ today. So it's nothing to do with, he just isn't that good. That's all it is. Just not that good. Just not as good as everyone built him out to be. And I've been trying to tell you for the longest while. And people who've been in boxing longer than myself could have told you that. He wasn't as good as advertised, and he hadn't made the improvements under Rob McCracken since he turned pro. He got smaller and he was bigger. He was smaller and bigger. That's what he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But he wasn't getting better. He wasn't improving. So, oh my God. Adam Smith said Kell Brook is a huge 160 fighter. For who? Don't you have any sort of like pride within yourselves to take the time to actually sit down and type this stuff about people that are talking absolute garbage? And they're talking the garbage, and behind closed doors, they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. Adam Smith, Eddie Hearn, all of them sitting down laughing at you because they know what the truth is, but they know they've got to sell it to you. They've got to sell it to you. Those who are more knowledgeable don't get sold in, don't get into that. They make a lot of money off it. They make a lot of money. I'm reading it off Sky Sports website, mate. It's what Madden Smith and Johnny said. That's what I'm saying to you. Whole Sky Sports team are walking contradictions. Nelson especially. Listen, they read the script according to what is good for the night. They read the script for what is good according for the night. So, Kell Brook is powerful at 160 only until he gets beat. And then when he gets beat, it's like, oh, well, Kell Brook, he was a small 160. Didn't Bellew say AJ was best heavyweight on the planet? Now Fury was always best, according to Bellew. Right. Did Tony Bellew say that David Price was the heir to the Klitschko's and he could beat the Klitschko's today, and that David Price was the best heavyweight in the world? Did he not say that? Did Johnny Nelson not say that McGregor versus Mayweather was a 50-50 fight? Are you kidding me? See, you people don't learn your lesson. You keep going back. You won't listen to people like me, but you go back and listen to them. Ian Dark and Glenn McCrory were class. And I've had a night out with Glenn McCrory, and he's at absolute top man. Glenn McCrory is an absolute top man. Okay then, mate. When Brook came down to 147, Adam Johnny Nelson, Macklin Eddie said Brook was huge at 147. He's huge at 147. He's huge at 160. Depending what the script is. They've got a script. And they write the script out before they go on the shows. If you don't watch carefully the scripts they've got in front of them, they've got scripts in front of them and they stick to them scripts. So which is it? Belly also said drugs ban should be lifetime minimum. Dark's one of the best. Johnny said Taka was like Foreman and Holyfield. WWE commentary. Listen, I go back and listen to listen to the show I had with Spencer Ferron on the show. Right? Go back and listen when I had Spencer Ferron on the show. Yes, salute to you as well, brother. Go back to see when Spencer Ferron was on the show. And I said to Spencer, are you telling me that the Sky Sports team today are better than what we had back at ringside? And you're like, yeah, they're good. They're really good, the team they've got now. I said, you're lying, Spence. I said, you're lying. I said, you'd Ian Dart, Glenn McCrory, Nicky Piper, Gary Mason. These are guys that told you what it was before it happened. I remember Gary Mason. Go back and listen to Gary Mason's commentary of Herbie Hyde versus Vitaly Klitschko. And Mason was telling us way beforehand. I mean, I remember sitting down watching Lennox Lewis fight Phil Jackson. And George Foreman was in the commentary. And he said to Lennox, oh, you need to stop winding up their hands and doing all this stuff. He looks really bad as a heavyweight. Real bad. And then Frank Bruno turned and said, he needs to watch McCall because he's a bull. He's a strong guy. Takes a good punch and comes forward and he's got a good right hand. That was the catalyst to the next night or the next fight. Lewis was on his back looking up at the lights and Oliver McCall was champion. That's the sort of commentary. That's the sort of commentary I grew up on. So you can't sit here and sell that garbage to me. When I used to watch Nick Owen and midweek sports special. Now we're going to start talking boxing. Midweek sports special. KO boxing. A midweek sports special. And there were Monday nights where Nick Owen would be on and we'd watch. That's where I first started watching American fights. I watched Michael Nunn knock out Sumbu Kalimbe. I watched Nigel Bennett, I think it was Bethnal Green, York or Bethnal Green, and he was fighting Umbayo, or people call him Bob. Ben knocked him out in 2 rounds. Those are images and stuff I remember. Midweek sports special. Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank in the studio signing for the big fight. Ambrose Mendy, Barry Hearn. That was boxing. That was a generation of boxing. That is where when you're talking and stuff. And then you had, Reg Guttridge and Jim Watt, Big Fight Live. They called it like they saw it down the line. Dickie Davis. That was what boxing was all about. That's what boxing was about. And remember, you go back and listen to stuff I was saying. I said, without AJ, who is the next pay-per-view star for Matchroom? And you all sat here, or you know-it-alls, and said to me, this person give you a pay-per-view star, and that person give you a pay-per-view star, and they got this fight, and they got that. Who they got now? Who they got now? Khan's been taken to the cleaners. So what has to happening is recycle fighters and guys coming out of retirement to fight. Wait, it's coming. Mate, can you do us a favor? Can you come back for one fight? Can you come back for one fight? Can you come back? Can you come back and fight on a pay-per-view card? Yeah, I'll make a pay-per-view. You have to start recycling fighters. Derek Chisora, he's bigger, he's back, and he's better than ever. This time is with Dave Colwell, and it's going to work out okay for him. No, it's not. David Price is back yet again in another fight where He gets tired, gets chinned, gets knocked out, recycle, play it again. David Price, he's big, he's strong, he's tall. He hits really hard, you know. Oh, Price has been caught. He's been knocked out. Recycle him. You know, Price is big, he's tall, he's strong. He had some unfortunate nights, but Price is back again. That's how it is, man. Recycle. Recycle. Colwell took McDonald and Belly to world titles. Okay. All right. Okay. And how long was Belly world champion for? What did he do as soon as he got the world title? Well, all right, mate. Okay, fine. Fair enough. If that's what your level is at with boxing, fair enough, fine. I'm not knocking Dave Colwell, but Last Chance Saloon is the biggest power in boxing. I'm not. Listen. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't. I was spoiled in boxing. I was spoiled in boxing. I was spoiled when it comes to watching quality fights and quality fighters. All right. I watch fighters start from challenges, you know, working their way up to becoming world champions. That's how I remembered it. No leapfrogging, no proper fighting for a world title. Not all these other sanctioning bodies fighting for a world title. Having to fight the best to become the best. You know? Ingram, he may be shooting down rumors about retirement, but this is the fast track to retirement. Crawford and cash out. He's lucky he doesn't leave. I'm not being funny. You're lucky if you don't come at that Crawford fight blind. I'm not joking. Yeah, it's that because Crawford is that sort of pinpoint sort of puncher. And the fact that Brook can't see them punches, but there'll be idiots in here now. I guarantee you there'll be idiots in here now. They'll argue with me until they're blue in the face. Till they go red in the face. They'll argue with me and tell me Kell Brook is a good fight for Terence Crawford. Not absolutely jack. He's got a better chin than Khan. He's bigger than Khan. But he's going to take him apart. I was talking to you guys in here. About Kell Brook. Bud Crawford. Before Bud Crawford was even, before he even fought Ricky Burns, and people were in this room still fighting me down about Bud Crawford. Now you're kissing Bud Crawford's ass. Some of you need to see your average fighters get whooped before you understand how good a fighter is. But you can't see, you don't see fighters. You can't see what a good fighter is. Brook's finished, man. He's finished. Brook said could do well against Crawford. Eddie just said on social media due to his size. Brook Crawford is coming. If they don't get the fight between Spence and Crawford, you could see in the last fight in December against that nobody that his eyes were gone and timing completely off. Absolutely. So Brook needs to be in the type of shape he was when he fought Sean Porter. He needs to be in that type of shape to have a chance against Crawford. That type of shape. Brook wasted his career. Yeah, he hasn't wasted his career. He has been badly advised. Bud will beat Spence 93 unanimous decision. We'll have to wait and see about that. But it's not good. I do feel sorry for Brook. But ultimately, loyalty will get your eyes taken out. I don't know who his advisors were, but they were bad advisors. Brook and Billy Joe Saunders have similar careers. But you know what? To be fair, look at Joe Kazaki's career. You all want to rate up Joe Calzaghe. Look at Calzaghe's career. Calzaghe's career really took off after the Mikkel Kessler fight. But there were fights. Remember, Joe Calzaghe was meant to fight Glenn Johnson. He swerved that Glenn Johnson fight. Every time the Glenn Johnson fight came up, Calzaghe, for whatever reason, was always injured. Always injured. Always injured. Always injured around the Glenn Johnson fight. Highly talented British fighters with no career to speak of. Eddie will sell it as Brook against Porter beats Crawford, and Brook was up against Spence before his eye went. Yeah. I know. You know what's going to be. You know what's going to be said. The script is so garbage. It's garbage. You know. How about let me play devil's advocate for a second. Let's imagine a scenario that Al Heyman sells PBC, yeah, but he sells PBC to someone like Dana White, and Dana White decides that he wants a bit of the UK pie, and he decides he wants to talk to Sky Sports. I don't know, but that whole Sky Sports situation to me is one that's there for the taking. Because if I'm Sky Sports and I'm looking at Matchroom and I'm saying, well, okay, your next gen. Well, okay, let's just talk about this next gen just for a minute. So these next gen fighters, these guys have got these careers that we see fighting against guys that are meant to knock out. What ends up happening with them? Show me the transition from a next gen fighter to a world champion through the Matchroom Academy. Please talk to me about it. I know what's happened. I've known that along the way they've been badly matched or rushed through and pushed through the whole pay-per-view model thing and got absolutely mullered or destroyed or beat up or exposed because they just weren't ready. Young pups in against lions each and every time. Bad matchmaking. Calzaghe hands would have broken Glenn Johnson's head. Good point there, Ben. Sky gonna dump Eddie. I can see it happening. I thought you blocked Ruben. Okay, waiting in few in waiting. Buatsi or Coley. Yeah, they're two next to come. They're next. If I'm Buatsi, if I'm a Coley, go now. Get out. That's what I tell them. Get out. Because look at everyone else behind you that were unbeaten. If you can throw Kell Brook in against Gennady Golovkin, if there's rumors are true that you stuck Joshua in against Ruiz and he'd been knocked out in sparring, was not fit to fight Ruiz, what chance does a Coley and Buatsi stand? Popularity and YouTube views. That's it. That's what it's about. But they don't know boxing. I'm not knocking anybody, but how many of those people that you know can sit down and break a fight down? I don't know. There are no great trainers here in the UK. That's an argument. I would argue that I think they've got some good trainers in the UK, but you see, they're not. There are good trainers in the UK, but like with everything, if you don't kiss ass, you don't get seen. So there are good trainers in the UK, very good trainers in the UK, but they're not getting seen. And a lot of those good trainers train good fighters, and then the fighters leave for the gold. You know, Matchroom was the time where people go, I'm signing for Matchroom. Do you remember about 2 years ago, signing with Matchroom was the wonderful thing to do? You better go sign with Frank. A Cole against McNally pay-per-view. You can see it happening. I could see it happening. The fact that McNally's sitting there in the Sky Sports studio, you can see it happening. Anytime you see somebody who should normally be talking in Sky and they're suddenly talking and they've been a former fighter Always wonder, where's this leading to? Okoli needs to go with Frank. Right, I agree. What do you make of how Matchroom handled Crawler? Like they handled anybody else. I think Crawley was any special case. Dave Colwell just got a bad run with Bellew, McDonald, twins, Jill Fowler, but he's turning Del Boy around. Around to what? Around to what? I think you're having a laugh in it. I used to be close to Del Boy in his camp, Don Charles. If Don Charles can't turn Derek Chisel around, nobody's turning Derek Chisel around. Derek Chisel ain't turning Derek Chisel around. Anyway, moving on. Dave Allen's rise is based off popularity in YouTube views. Listen, and when Dave Allen used to be on this channel and we used to do weekly talks, way before people knew of Dave Allen. And I said to Dave Allen, Dave, you know what? You've got the gift of the gab, my friend, and you've got a great personality. When you get on the big stage, people are going to love you. And it's happening now. Dave Allen will make a good boxing analyst in the future. But I just think they're going to use and abuse him as well if he doesn't get out. Del Boy is done. He looks shocking against Gashi. Now he's fighting another left in Spilka. Chisora against Spilka, full breakdown. He did decent against Wild until he was lights were out. Spilka's a good fighter, trained by Ronnie Shields. I don't know how much Spilka's got left and don't really care for the fight. Dave Allen does numbers. Eddie says he's training at Matchroom now with Barker. So what? I reckon Del Boy is older than his official age. Chisora should retire before he gets badly injured. I see that too. I don't. This sounds brutally honest. I don't care. I don't care what Matchroom's got to say. I don't care what Sky Sports have got to say. I don't care. I don't listen to the commentaries. I turn the volume down and I commentate. I don't care. I really don't care. Can see Del Boy Joyce happening soon. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see Del Boy fighting. I'm tired of it. It tells you something when you still have an interest in watching Derek Chisora fight when there's so many other fighters around. People will much faster watch Del Boy fight than Joe Joyce. And, I can see something else happening as well. See, his manager is making more friends as ever. And one thing I've come to understand about life, not just about boxing, about life, people don't buy people. People buy products. Right? People don't buy products. They buy people. All right? They don't buy products. They buy people. People are not interested in what you're selling. They're interested in who you are. If they can trust you, they'll buy your product. But if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy your product. So, as Joe Joyce, how is Joe Joyce a 34-year-old prospect? If Joe Joyce, he's been treated like a prospect. If Joe Joyce carries on with this manager he's got at the moment, they're going to turn against Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce needs to have a voice of his own, and he needs to have a guy in there that's going to make Joe Joyce more likable. At the moment, he's got a guy working with him that, from what I'm seeing, is going to piss a lot of people off. And you can be vocal, and you can be funny, and you can have a little bit of banter here and there, and then there's nastiness. And I don't know. You rub too many people up the wrong way, and it becomes often, and you're not the guy that's fighting. What tends to happen is people start to get turned off. And yes, the attention turns from the fighter, where it should be, to the mouthpiece. And then the mouthpiece gets all the attention, and it's not in for a good purpose and a good reason. And that is where I'm concerned. Yeah, you think he's doing a good job. Carry on. You carry on thinking he's doing a good job. That tells me you've got no clue about boxing. I have no idea. Because, you see, Danny Garcia is different. Danny Danny Garcia and his father different because his father trains him. His father actually trains him. There's a difference. Now here you got a guy here who I don't know if he's ever boxed before, and he's there as a mouthpiece talking to fighters. He's talking to fighters. He's not a trainer, but he's talking to fighters. And he's got all the one-liners to the fighters. But he doesn't fight himself. And the problem with that is that people see that in press conferences and they get pissed by it. It's different where Robert Garcia, or not Robert Garcia, Angel Garcia is different because he's the trainer. So he gets in the corner and all the rest of it. They respect that. I don't understand why. You think that he's doing well for somebody's PR. Public relations. Do you understand what PR means? See, he's a contradiction itself. This is why I talk about the sort of people we've got in this room. Ruben Guerrero again. I don't know about managing, but fans' point of view, we know that we know Joyce because of Sam Jones, and I think Sam Jones is doing a good job for Joyce's PR. PR. Break down what PR. Public relations. So if you don't understand what a public relations officer is, a public relations officer is a person that is to build relationships on behalf of or to enhance the person's reputation, product, who they are, their personality. So their personality comes off well. I don't see how Sam Jones does that for Joe Joyce. He's getting a lot of guys, people's backs up, and he's turning people, and people are going to start going at Sam Jones thinking that's Joe Joyce. Because I think, hold on a second, wait. If you're allowing this guy to talk on your behalf, that means you accept what this guy's saying about you. That's how some people think. That means you actually agree with what he's saying, which actually means that you give him the thumbs up. Do you get what I'm saying? And so therefore, like a publicist, a PR publicist is a person that makes you make sure you look in your best light all the time. But they might not necessarily be doing all the talking. But they may say a few things, right? I don't know. I for the life of me, I do not understand what Sam is doing with Joyce. I have no idea. If they wanted a mouthpiece, then they should use a trainer as a mouthpiece. Like Abel Sanchez is a fantastic mouthpiece. You can use Sanchez. He's never short of a word or two. You know? There's ways to go about it without being nasty, you know what I mean? And the way I'm seeing it and the way I'm looking at it, it's going to end up terrible. Joyce needs as many friends as he can get in boxing at the moment. He needs as many allies as possible and needs to be likable. You know what I mean? And I don't think that works. I really don't think it works at all, me personally. So for you to sit down and think that he's PR, he's good PR, mate, you need to go and pick up a dictionary and understand what PR means. Joyce needs to dress up as a juggernaut for the Marvel comments for the next ring walk. We'll help him bring in the kids and possibly a Disney lawsuit. Poor Kelly. GG, shut off all the lights, says Champ Life. Let's see what people say now. Tyler says, Sam Jones is an irritable little shit. His actions are going to get Joyce a bigger target on his back. People will be rooting for his downfall just because of his manager. See what I've said here? I don't know Tyler from Jack anywhere. But Tyler's coming and made, this is one person make this statement. And that's what I think a lot of people are feeling and seeing. It's not good. I saw Sam Jones getting into today with Chris Mason over Twitter. I mean, it just does you no favors. Anyway. But of course, I don't know if you can say that, Kenny, with any sort of clarity. Ruben, Eubank Senior was mouthpiece. What? Stop. Eubank Senior was a former world champion, and he was Eubank's father. He has the right to talk, considering he was also managing Eubank as well. What are you talking about? But then Sam Jones plays a slightly similar role. How can he be slightly similar role? Sam Jones was never a world champion. Sam Jones, as far as I know, didn't have any boxing career. What are you talking about, Ruben? I swear, I don't know. Ruben, how old are you, by the way? I think you must be about 13 years old. People do not root for fighters' downfall. If he is like Sam Jones, I'm seeing it with Yard and Tunde. It's not the same, though. It's not the same. Again, you can't make the comparison with Sam Jones with Tunde. Tunde's a trainer and a former fighter and a manager. Tunde not only trained Yard, Dubois, O'Hara Davis. So the man's got a track record. This guy's been in boxing 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. Eubank commands respect as he's been and done that. Terrible comparing him to Sam Jones. Why is Kell Brook even mentioning Crawford? TC not going to 154 and at 147, not a good idea for Brook. I know that. Brook has been sent like a lamb to slaughter once again. You know, once, twice, 3 times a lady. You got sent to slaughter once to Golovkin, sent again to the slaughterhouse to Spence, and then he's going to get sent again to the slaughterhouse to Crawford. You know what I mean? Those 2 guys took 1 eye socket out each. Now this time, Crawford will finish him off. It's ridiculous. Brook likes men putting hands on him. I'm not even going there with that. It is for me. I feel if he takes a fight against Crawford and probably get no warm-up either, no warm-up fight, go straight in against Crawford or fight some guy who will blow out in a round and people say, why can't Brook v. Khan be made? I don't know why Brook v. Khan can't be made. Or why doesn't Brook v. Liam Smith happen? I mean, they talked about it. Brook v. Liam Smith. Why after Brook v. Eggington? Or Carl is the ultimate troll. Eddie wants a body on his record. Well, Ben, you laugh about that, but the way it's going, somebody's going to get Susie hurt eventually, but he's daring to be great. Brook's career has been mostly warm-up fights and daring to be great. One extreme to the other. I agree. He's fighting MMA fighter for a bigger payday than Brook versus Bud, LOL. Brook looked shot in his last fight. Accuracy and time was way off. And that used to be one of his biggest qualities. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying. Brook v. Smith, good fight, would sell in the UK. Absolutely. I think Brook... Hey, you know what? You need to make me a damn matchmaker. I could sell better fights. I could sell better fights. Oh. Fury should have fought Rivas. Fury should have fought Rivas on Saturday night just gone. Should have fought. The top-ranked fighter. Good fight. Daring to be blind. You're right. It's ain't funny. Smith mauls Brook. Oh, God. Ruben with his outrageous breakdowns. How does Smith maul Brook? Smith don't maul anybody. Oh, dear. Does anybody want to talk some sense to me in this room? Please? Somebody talk some sense. So I think you start your career out as a fighter. You go for your amateur career, you turn pro, you want to become a world champion. Ubrin just talks trash. You're right. All the lights in here, baby. Extra bright. I can't see this. Turn the lights in here, baby. Going blind. I can't see this. It's not good. It's not good. Kel, if you listen to this or your people are watching this, listen. If you're going to fight Crawford, bro, get back in the ring. I don't care if it's an undercard at flipping Sheffield or if it's an undercard at Dennis Hobson show. I don't care. Get yourself some warm-up fights, bro. I don't care if you have to fight at Bethnal Green. Get yourself some undercard fights. Get yourself your body in shape. Get yourself some match practice. Get yourself, getting your hands ready. Get your hands ready. Get yourself ready. If you're going to go fight Crawford at the end of the year, because I can see what happened. I can see you not get no warm-up fight and then fight Crawford at the end of the year and say, well, you know what? He's got a 12-week training camp and that's all Kell will need to beat Terence Crawford. Arse whooping. Boxing is about continuity. And Terence Crawford who just fought recently, he'll be sharp. Sharp. I don't see why Crawford would even fight Brook. He doesn't bring much to the table of anything, does nothing for Crawford's career. Yeah, it does. It does. Because remember, Brook's the guy that beat Porter. Brook's also the guy that went in the ring with Spence. So there's that yardstick there. Crawford hasn't fought Porter and he hasn't fought Spence. But here's a guy that's fought both. That's the selling point. Well, let's see what Porter did against Brook. He went to points with him. Let's see what Spence did against Brook. He stopped him late. Let's see what Crawford's going to do against him. But the difference is, with the Crawford fight, right? Brook hadn't fought for so long. With the Spence fight and with the Porter fight, he was fighting regularly. That's the difference. Crawford has to fight Brook. He can't get PBC fighters. Brook isn't in a good position either. He might get frozen out by PBC. Brook has some kind of name. I think Brook and Crawford is a fantastic fight. I would make the fight if I'm Crawford's promoter. And if I can make the fight in the UK, I'd fight in the UK. Just to gain more fans from the UK. Fight in Sheffield. Make Crawford come to Sheffield. Oh my God. Josh Kelly versus Kell Brook. That's a fight I'd love to see. Josh Kelly, Kell Brook. That's a great fight. I'd make that fight. I would make that fight in a heartbeat. Josh Kelly, Kell Brook. I'd make that fight in a heartbeat. I would make that fight in a heartbeat. I'm telling you. Because Josh Kelly, I was listening to Adam Booth the other day talking about Josh Kelly. These are the kind of, he's sitting down going, yeah, these are the kind of fights that, Josh Kelly needs to, for him to show that, there's another level out there of fighting. Yeah, he needed that. He needed to get his ass kicked. His ass got kicked at him. I saw the fight and I scored it 6-4 to Kelly. Well, of course you would. You wouldn't score it any other way. But Kelly got his ass well and truly beat up. He got beat up. Plain and simple. Somehow I think that he's sitting down in the Sky studio speaking with a very calm voice, very methodical, very sound really, really philosophical in what you're saying. I think that you sound like you really know what you're talking about. But the bottom line is Kelly was one-dimensional and got found out by a guy who's a better, more experienced boxer. That's what happened. You might not like what I'm saying, but that's what it is. He got beat. So I don't know how, if you're sitting down telling the Sky Sports team or the people that are listening to you and asking you questions about that fight, you'll say, well, he needed that fight for him to learn. What? Learn that he's not good enough. I mean, how much better can Josh Kelly be? Yeah, he could be loads better. But under Adam Booth's tutelage, I don't know. Because I don't know how much more Booth has got to give Kelly. Because that's Ray Robinson. With all due respect, he's not the biggest puncher in the welterweight division. He's a good boxer, but there's that next level. I recommend Brooks sit out till he gets Khan fight and then retire, or even wait till another 2 years for it. Star power would blind him. I've always been a fan of Crawford, Jess, for ending those Ricky Burns horror shows in class. Oh, you're funny. Booth says Josh Kelly is the best fighter and most skilled he's ever trained and seen. Defensively responsible. So the former unified cruiserweight champion and heavyweight champion of the world, David Haye, isn't as skilled as Josh Kelly. Haye had one punch power at cruiserweight and at heavyweight. Okay. I don't know if Booth is being paid a lot of money by Josh Kelly handlers, but he's terrible. He's terrible. He's terrible. I'm sorry. He's not good enough to be given that sort of praise about. And the young man's going to get himself seriously hurt if they don't put the brakes on Josh Kelly and teach him to have defense. Sorry. I wish I could say good things, but the guy got beat and he was left, for me, is Booth a trainer or a manager or philosopher? He's both. He's a trainer and manager. I think he was, when he was with Groves, I think he was Groves' manager and trainer. I think with Haye was Haye's trainer and manager, much like Joe Gallagher, who's Callum Smith's trainer and manager. Josh Kelly handlers have got Booth's wife and kids. I think so too. Booth needs to glue his hands to his head in training. Yeah, nice, all right. Josh Kelly is going to be a meme. It's going to be a meme. A knockout meme. It's coming. Hands down by the side and getting caught brutally. I suppose we could say we have Josh Kelly and Conor Benn for bum of the month if things don't work out. I don't think Conor Benn's a bum. I think Conor Benn, if moved correctly, could maybe get himself British title, European, if moved correctly, right fights at the right time. Unfortunately, he's not in that kind of a stable where it's moved the right fights at the right time. It's moved the right fights. You know what I get sometimes when I watch Matchroom? I watch Matchroom fights and matchmaking. Do you know what I get? I get like this. You know when you play video games, like boxing video games, you got the rankings, and you go, oh, yeah, I feel good after that fight. And you're like ranked 20, and you can't bother to fight the next 5 guys. So you try and jump to the top 10, the 10th guy, and then you get actually sparked. That's what I think happens. I think they just look at BoxRec. They got a BoxRec. They go, he's had a loss. He's had a loss. He's been knocked out. He's been knocked out. Yeah, we'll take that fight. And they just did. But there's no research. And I want to know, with all these guys that they're picking for these matchups, I want to know, why did you take that fight? What was it that made you think you could beat the guy? Was it he got knocked down in a fight before? He showed vulnerability. He lacked defense. He was slow. He was aging. Why did you take these fights at these times? That's what I want to know. Ben has some good natural ability, says Ruben Guerrero. Right. And you also think Sam Jones is great PR for Joe Joyce. Rock on, mate. Ben needs to move down a couple of weight classes if he wants to be successful. Way too small for welterweight. Got a good point there. Lightweight might be interesting for Ben. Ben is in with the Towie crowd as well as this hype will make him want a fast track as well. You know what's going. It's real 50-50 Ben versus Wilder daring to be great. Oh dear. Right. I don't think there's much more for me to talk about now. If you're a Matchroom follower, then, you know, the thing is, Frank knows how to build a champion. He knows how to guide and pick the right fights at the right times. More or less, Frank knows what he's doing. The other geezer, he has not got a clue what he's doing. Think about the amount of fighters now, if they hadn't been beaten this year, could still be in the stakes to being potential pay-per-view stars. So you got Okoli and you got Boatsi. I wonder what's going to get served up to them, because the last guy Boatsi fought is unacceptable. Unacceptable. What were your thoughts on the cruiserweight fights? Dorticus could punch. Yep. I think I spoke about it I think I spoke like yesterday. Conor Benn is learning his craft. Leave him alone. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. You learn. You learn. You learn. You will learn. Listen, I met Conor Benn. I think he's a lovely fella. I think real humble guy, really nice guy. Liked his aura. Nice guy. Spoke to Harley. Trained Nigel's cousin. Never got quite met to meet Nigel. But yeah, I just, you'll learn, mate. You'll learn. You'll learn. What does it tell you about the stable if Froch, Bellew, and McInerney are talking about comebacks? It's telling you that if Froch, Bellew, and McInerney are talking about comebacks, it tells you that the barrel is empty and somebody's getting desperate and they have to fulfill certain pay-per-view numbers before the end of the year. That's what it tells me. See, Froch and Bellew come back. Wait, Matchroom Legends X. I'm telling you, recycled. Wait for it. November, recycled. Bellew, Froch, Macronelli. If they want to do something, why don't they get Froch fighting Callum Smith? Why don't they make that fight? Froch v. Callum Smith. Get Mackie back. Oh dear. Andre Ward's meant to be. I heard rumors that Andre Ward's meant to be coming back as well in a super fight. For Ward v. Bellew at cruiserweight. What do you think? Ward v. Bellew at cruiserweight. That just tells you. It tells you where Matchroom is at. I'm telling you. Will Froch pass medical with his nose job? Could break after first jab. Well, he could pay for it afterwards and get it back. You know. So I'm telling you, it's not good. It's not even funny. Because this is what we're looking at. A bunch of recycled fighters. Well, I'm out of it. I'm going to play some FIFA. Vlad will fight Bellew. They were in the movie together in Creed. Ward wanted AJ, but now he has lost. He will take Bellew. Yep, that's it. I'm out of here. Take care. Nice talking to you guys. As always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, hit the notification bell, and check out where you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get across, give us a follow. Oh my God. Brook v. Charlo. Oh Lord. They're really trying to get that boy hurt. I'm out of here. I'm out. Take care.